Hello, everybody. My name is Sean,
And I am Penguin.
and here on Tall Dream Altar, I believe we are going to be casting a ZVP. This is Game 2 of the Grand Finals of the Zeke European. I almost said North American European Fry Daily, and Penguin. Who do we have in the bottom left corner?
In the bottom left corner, we have our Teal Protoss, the man who took game 1 with some fantastic Void Ray harass. It is Patjuh.
And here in the top left corner, we have the green Zerg taking an unfortunate 1-0 deficit and not leaving quite so pleasantly in the last game. This is the green Zerg Pinna.
Indeed, Shan, you are right. We did not see Pinna GG in the last game. He just commented on Protoss being a hard race and just sort of left. But
Or
we did
Zerg
see
being a
him.
hard race to play. I'm not sure
I'm
what
not
he
quite
meant.
sure what he meant there. Yes,
Probably
but
some tactical implications.
we did see him launch a very good, a very strong Roach Ling attack that Patjuh was able to hold off with the lucky
Indeed.
timing of Void Rays and some really fantastic force fields with the sentries. And then he was
Indeed.
able to just counter, and Pinna just didn't have enough.
Absolutely, but at the same time, I feel like any Zerg that loses because he doesn't see the Void Race coming on close by air spawn on Shatter Temple is simply defeating himself because when you spawn close by air, you have to expect that the Protoss is going to make Void Race and harass at some point. It is just too easy, and while you don't have to metagame, you have to know the timings of when Void Rays are going to be made, and you have to have the Overlord Scout scouting at the right time. And it does take luck, and it does take a little bit of maneuvering, but I feel like Pinna did have that Overlord micro to scout his opponent without being seen himself, so I feel like he really could have thwarted that Void Ray a lot sooner.
I definitely agree, and we have seen Patjuh throwing up a pylon again. He's really not wanting Pinna to take that expansion while he grabs his own Forge Fast Expand, and this could be really
Absolutely.
irritating for Pinna, as he's going to be
Indeed.
pretty far behind in the economy game. Canceling it
Indeed he
again, he'll
will.
be throwing up yet another pylon to save as much money. Pinna not happy at all about this. Wow.
Pinna definitely not in
He will
a
get the
very good
expansion
mood
though.
about it.
He will get that expansion down, and it looks like
He
he'll even
will
get a
get the
kill.
expansion, but at the same time, let's see the unit count. We have 17 probes over 15 drones, and I don't know, guys. I feel like Pinna was thrown off quite a bit there. He's going to have to drone up very fast. Going to have to saturate this base a lot faster than Patjuh if he wants to catch up in this game, or he's going to have to just take that third as soon as possible, which is really hard to do in Tall Dream. You cannot double expend your third because you have to get a high enough unit count to break down those rocks.
Definitely. Also, one thing that we are seeing, just a little reminder that the the Nexus is about half a minute ahead of the hatchery, so he's pretty far ahead in that area, and he's going for a 2-gate actually. And that's not a cyber core, that is a second gateway, Sean.
Indeed, it is. Maybe he's just trying to. He knows that his opponent went full first. Maybe he's just getting some zealots out before he gets. I have seen the 2-gate core build, where he puts up a core fairly soon, but just gets a couple zealots out first. I don't know if he's going to be like going for any kind of attacks on the natural, or if he's going to simply use the zealots to defend against any kind of Zergling attack. I don't know, but
If he goes for aggression, Sean, I feel like this could be very effective because Pinna has taken his drones off gas and will not have. He's put two guys back in gas, but he won't have roaches. He's putting up a roach warren now, and I'm an idiot. But what were you gonna say? Save me.
what I was going to say is that Pinna is being forced to drone especially hard since his expansion is going down a lot later, even though, and he's also being forced to expand to his fourth as his third because that is, he has to make that choice and get that economy while droning up, and the position in which getting that pylon in and fast expanding places a Zerg is absolutely atrocious, and the Zerg definitely not in a very good position to defend all of his bases.
He pulls his main's queen down to the natural to be able to hold off those zealots without them getting into the main. He's going to be very late on this inject on his main though. As a result,
Indeed.
I wonder how this is going to affect the rest of the game.
Indeed, it will certainly affect the rest of the game in whatever way it does. Definitely want your queen to be at your main at all times because, let's face it, injects are pretty darn important.
Definitely, Shan. And Pinna's getting himself a little bit supply blocked actually. Um, but he's actually caught up in the worker count relatively well. He's a little bit behind still, but with that third base up, he should be able to start producing. Yes, now he's ahead, and he seems to have recovered. But there is another one of those early stargates that Patjuh used to such good effect in the last game. We are seeing an Evo chamber from Pinna though, so he might be able to hold it off this time.
True, true, true. But at the same time, this is what I really don't like about Pinna's decision making is that he made roaches when he saw the zealots. I feel, and I just feel like investing in roaches is not a he put down the roach warren, and I just don't feel like that's a very good decision at this point in the game, especially on Tal'Darim, where it's such a long walk and roaches are such a slow defensive unit. There's not very much he can do with those roaches in an offensive sort of way. And of course, when a Zerg player makes units, he has to capitalize on it. So I don't know what he's going to do with the Roach Warren. Hopefully he can make it work. But at the same time, those speedlings are a lot more important to keeping that map control when you're on Tal'Darim Melter.
He doesn't have neither player really has much in the way of units. They've just been droning really hard. We're seeing 10 Zerglings against one sentry and one zealot. But of course there
Indeed.
is that all important Void Ray that's about to come out, and another Void Ray starting up right behind it.
Absolutely. And another Void Ray, and that's two Void Rays, and that is going to be quite pesky.
Just looking here
What
at the Pinna cam for a second, we're seeing all of these overlords in his natural again, and he has almost no vision on the rest of the map, and he just sees the Void Ray right now as it comes in and starts attacking his units. He doesn't have the vision that he needs to have, and he doesn't
that
have the AA he needs either. We're not seeing any Spore Crawlers yet. He's just putting down one right now, but it's going to be late. This Void Ray is going to be able to come in and pick off that queen.
that overlord spread incredibly important, and if you keep those overlords in your natural on a map as big as Tal'Darim Altar, you can only blame yourself for anything that happens as a result. And now that Void Ray is going to come in and it's going to get its shots off, and it's going to be uh, 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 pretty much unimpeded,
The queen's caught
and
out of
there's
position.
not
He
very
did have
much.
three of them, but they were way out of position, and it's going to allow this Void Ray to kill off 3 or 4 workers before running away without taking any permanent damage.
Indeed, and like I said, like if he had that overlord, an overlord over the watchtower, or lings at all of the watchtowers, or an overlord and really spread at any point in the path between the Void Ray and his base, which he absolutely should have, which is the only way you see an air attack coming. Um, he just was not prepared for this,
This Void
and
Ray at
he is
the
going to
third
lose quite a bit.
is going to be shut down relatively easily. He does get away with 37 HP, but that did not do the damage that he wanted it to do.
That said, it is getting away, and a Void Ray is good in almost any scenario, which means that if it does damage at all, it has justified at least the cost of when considering what it could accomplish later in the game, because a Void Ray is good with any army composition.
One of the things that I've seen that's very interesting is that Patjuh, instead of getting the level 1 ground upgrades or the level 2 weapons upgrades, he went for the level 1 shields upgrades instead. And he seems to be going for a pretty powerful Zealot Archon mix, but with the shield... Ah, I see. He's getting the shields because, of course, Archons, 90% of their health, more than 90% of their health, is their shields. Makes perfect sense
That
now.
that is true, but I'm not sure if that is still the best choice, because the shield is not a percentage upgrade. The shield upgrade is a numerical nominal upgrade, and as such, he's going to have. I really don't see the cost being justified. I feel like the armor and attack upgrades are in every
Shan,
scenario better.
Shan, take a look at the
Yes.
natural of Patjuh. Look at the Nexus. Look at the Nexus.
Are
We're seeing a
this?
mothership.
I'm speechless.
We are
I
seeing
am
a mothership.
speechless. We are going to see the mothership. Oh, I wonder if we're going to see some epic mass recall play, Kiwikaki style. Maybe finally, like BlizzCon telling everyone we're going to remove the mothership has gotten people to realize, hey, maybe we should start using the mothership.
Definitely. However, he is going for a Roach Hydra mix, which is incredibly powerful against that Zealot Archon army. And he's taking a long time to morph these 2 gateways into warp gates, but I think that puts him up to 8 warp gates. There's the fleet beacon. I hadn't seen it before. And that
And
mothership is almost out.
I feel like another thing to note is that the Overseer went right over actually dropped a Changeling into the natural middle line where the Nexus was building the mothership, and so or warping in the mothership to be lore correct. Uh, he actually saw everything that's going on, and the element of surprise is so important to having a mothership, and now that is entirely gone, and now Patjuh, that puts more pressure on Patjuh to micro it properly.
Wow, that was some pretty nice alliteration there, Sean. One thing that I
So
wanted to
many
notice is that
T's
he
in
does
this
have,
PvP.
sorry, he does have a Spire, but he's not opting to go Corruptors. So he's not looking to be able to. I mean, I guess he's hoping that the Roaches, sorry, not the Roaches, that the Hydras will be able to take out that Mothership with relative ease. But naturally, with Archons being able to do massive splash damage to the biological force, this is going to be interesting. The engagement at the natural of Patjuh. The mothership is out. The cloaking is there, but he's not keeping all of his units cloaked. There we go. He's pulling back, and the army is retreating.
What's more important is keeping his sentries alive. Zealous can take a little bit of damage, but he simply has to keep his mothership, his sentries, and his archons alive. Doesn't want to lose those unnecessarily. His archons are meant to tank the really important damage, and uh, um, hopefully he's going to get a little bit more in the way of those upgrades. Maybe get some armor. I still feel like getting those shields was a bit of a waste, but at the same time, he does want to be able to apply the upgrades to his mothership that he does to his ground forces. I
Definitely.
still don't know if it's been worth it.
We are also going to be seeing him get Storm, and he's going to be up to 12 gateways. So he's going to continue with a very gateway-heavy army composition, and he is, of course, on 3 base against the 4 base Zerg, and Hive Tech is being researched for Pinna, who is pretty far ahead in supply.
Indeed. At the same time, though, if we look at the unit counting station, we do have 12 Hydras and 40 Roaches. That is a healthy count, but at the same time, let us check the upgrades. Oh, wow. That's actually very, very good. He has 1-2 on his Roaches and his Hydras, which actually will do quite well against this Protoss mothership ball.
We're
And
seeing
he's got 3 Overseers.
+2 weapons on the Protoss army and +1 shields, but we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be seeing the upgrade advantage in Patjuh's favor. So I think we're seeing Pinna in a much better place than in a much better position than Patjuh at this point.
But Patjuh has the invaluable combo of having 6 Archons and a mothership, which means that Pinna's micro has to be right on the dot. He cannot allow any of those units to get sucked into a vortex.
Definitely, Sean, and we are going to be seeing High Templar being warped in, as well as level 3 ground weapons and Zealot Charge, and 4 more gateways, so he's going to be going up with this very gateway-heavy army composition against potentially Ultralisks and Broodlords.
That is true. He did warp in 3 High Templar, so it is entirely possible that he's actually going to mix some High Templar into this, which would actually be quite nifty. It would absolutely ravage the Hydralisks, and if he can take out the Hydralisks, his mothership could solo all those roaches, to be quite honest, because he does have the ground army doing quite well, and if he can get some good storms off, he will be in very good shape against that Zerg army.
Definitely, and Storm was already researched quite a while ago, and there are actually these one of the Void Rays at least is still alive and flying around. Yes, one of the Void Rays, the one that was less successful, is gonna be a bunch of Overlords flying right into that army. Not a good, well, I can't really call it an engagement, but not a good little.
But at the same time, he will just make 3 or 4 more Overlords, use them for spread, and that will be really nice. He can lose some Overlords and still have that max supply.
Definitely. And we're seeing a 4th being put down by Patjuh. And we haven't seen a 5th yet. We're seeing a lot of the Overlords being spread to these expansions to spread their own creep so that Patjuh cannot expand to a lot of these things, sort of locking them down. Creep, of course, not allowing Protoss to build on top of them, so...
Well, I get a feeling maybe he's just doing that to be able to maybe an emergency build on it. I don't know. Maybe he's just making sure, yeah, that Patjuh doesn't get a ninja expansion. This looks like it's going to be a territorial war. It's going to be
engagement coming down, Sean, right here. Sorry to interrupt you, but the Roach Hydra Corruptor army Oh, the Corruptors are engaging. Oh, beautiful
Oh
Vortex. The
no.
entire army goes into the Vortex, and he has a lot of Archons that
He needs
could...
to put his Archon in it. He does, and I feel like
Oh,
Pinna made a huge mistake.
oh
He
no.
actually got his entire army in the
More
vortex. He should
Archon,
have
another
just
Archon
pulled
goes
the
in.
heck right back.
And bam, that was a big hit. Storms on top of them as well.
And he just could
Fantastic
have
micro by
used
Patjuh.
another
Use
vortex.
another Vortex. Oh, this is going to be absolutely
Oh
terrible.
my
He's going to warp in
goodness.
reinforcements. More High Templar are being more warped in as well.
And now
This
they're
is...
being,
Oh,
yeah, morphing into Archons and going to take some huge hits on the Broodlords.
oh
And
no.
now,
Oh no.
if he doesn't have Blink on the Stalkers, which I feel may actually help Pinna a lot, but no, the Archon's going to take out the Broodlords with relative ease, and Pinna not in very good shape. He only has 6 roaches. He's trying furiously hard to remacro, which he is doing quite well. He's so low on money, while the Protoss has so much and so many bases, and I just don't know, like, I think it all comes down to how many gateways is Patjuh able to
Definitely.
popping down right now.
I agree completely, Sean. We see a little bit of a wall of crawl put up by Pinna, which is going to help him hold off that army for a little bit longer. But he's putting up a bunch of expansions, trying to catch up. But I feel like he gave up the advantage that he really had. That was that economic, that was that really big army supply lead. He didn't capitalize on it. He just sat around to the 200-200 army, and you just can't afford to do that as a Zerg.
Indeed, while you can remax quite quickly, which is why you need to be trading, moving around the map, denying expansions. You have to deny Protoss expansions. A Protoss on 3 mining bases is so dangerous, especially with this Mothership Archon mix. And I feel like with 17 gateways, 3 of which have not yet been morphed into warp gates, now the inability of Protoss to remax really quickly is actually going away quite fast here. Is quite fading. In it, the game's not in Pinna's favor anymore, simply because there's so many gateways, and this is such a gateway-oriented army. If he can keep that mothership alive, he will be able to remax this army so fast. It's
That's a
not even
lot of
funny.
Lings. We're seeing an engagement in here, and that is a lot of Lings, and Lings do not do well against Zealots. They do not do well against High Templar. They do
Pinna
not do well
making a
against
huge
Archons.
mistake. Why is he putting his units
Oh.
into? He's moving his broodlords into the vortex. That is such a terrible
Ah.
idea. And now he's just going to move his archons into the vortex again and get a lot of hits.
And of course, those
And
Lings
and
do not do very
and
well
look
against the
at the
splash
damage
damage.
on
Oh, the
the overseers.
Infestors
They're
going down
all dying, and
instantaneously.
eventually the overseers are all going to be dead, and there's going to be
Oh.
nothing to detect the army, and just losing army engagement after engagement, and must be, oh my goodness,
Oh, BM
and
coming down. Patjuh
dropping
telling Pinna to
BM.
get out. Looking at the units lost station, though, 22,000 to 9,000 lost. That is not bad
I,
at all.
and I'll tell you this, I
Oh,
Pinna trying to do his Idra impression, but Pinna lost that game, man. He went roaches on a huge macro map, and he tried to use this like roach Hydra oriented army, forcing him to spread his creep, which was good, but at the same time, he just did not make the decisions that it takes to win a tournament. He chose not to prepare for potential Void Ray harass. He chose not to scout for Void Ray harass in that game 1, and I don't know. I feel like he lost that game.
definitely, I agree, Sean. Anyway, I have been Penguin.
And I have been Shan.
Thank you for tuning in. We will be going into Game 3 of this Grand Finals, which could potentially be the last game of tonight's tournament.